of y'all know, great news. I recently got engaged to Thanh Lai out there in Vietnam just this last spring. And yeah, it's been a wonderful series of changes and kind of all of a sudden in certain ways, but I'm absolutely certain about Thanh Lai and, of course, the future in Vietnam and everything. So naturally, that also means we're going to be getting married in Vietnam here this next spring, March 2017. So I really thought that it'd be a good move to make a video for you all and give you all a little bit more information and give you a better idea of what's going to happen and what's going to be going on. I think most importantly because a lot of y'all are considering going over to Vietnam to actually join us for the wedding and get a trip around the world while you're at it. So, but first things first, the wedding itself is actually going to occur on March 18th and 19th, 2017 here. It's always tricky choosing a date. Anyone who's ever, had a party or gotten married or whatnot has, run into this. We actually chose March because, it's before the summer and before a lot of the busyness that happens in America. But it's also after all the holidays, your Christmas or your New Year's, the Groundhog's Day, what have you. It's also after the rainy season in Vietnam. I mean, let's face it, if we all went there in January and it rained 28 out of 30 days, it's not as nice, really. But it's also before it gets over 100 degrees and scorchingly hot, too. So it's really, March is the sweet spot. And of course, right around spring break and that kind of thing. So beyond that, a lot of folks are actually considering making it over for 2 weeks. I'll use my parents as an example, Paul and Linda. They're looking at showing up a week early, which should be showing up on Saturday the 11th, and staying until Saturday the 25th. I tell you what, really take this to heart. Take this to heart. You gotta come for 2 weeks. You've got to. It's a big trip, and you're not gonna you're not gonna circle the globe and cross continents very often. You might as well hang out a little bit. The cost difference between going for 1 week or 2 weeks is very small. For an extra couple $100, you can stay for an extra week. So for cost, it's worth it. Also, too, I mean, it's physically speaking, it's a big change. You've got to change your food, change the the water coming in, change the weather, change your clothing that you wear every day. Basically changing your whole lifestyle, changing time zones, flipping 12 hours. It takes a little bit more than 1 day to get acclimated to a different place. If you were to only come for 4 days or come for a week, yeah, you're going to be adjusting for the first 3 days, let's say, and then right when you go back, you're going to be adjusting again, and you never really got a chance to live it or enjoy it over there. So, yeah, 2 weeks is the minimum I would recommend, absolute minimum. But not everyone's lifestyle is as straightforward as that. But certainly, if you can go longer, I would really recommend it. And I'll get into that a little bit later, as far as the ideas there. But let me lay it down for you a little bit, give you guys an overview. Yes, the wedding itself will occur on 18th and 19th. Now, the week ahead of time, a lot of folks, including my parents, are looking at spending a little bit of time in Saigon, Vietnam, which is in the south. And but for the most part, spend that week in Hue City, which is really the ancient capital city of the country. Spend about a week together in Hue, have the wedding itself over that weekend. Then the following week, we're looking at going to Da Nang, Vietnam, which is a couple hours or a few hours south of Hue City by motorcycle. So, and then from there, heading back to Saigon, going home, do whatever you want to do. So certainly, some folks are going to be able to show up early, can do their own thing in Saigon or Thailand, stay for a week with us in Hue, go to the wedding, and then leave right after. So be it. Some folks want to show up just before the wedding, be there in that weekend of the 18th, 19th, join us in Da Nang, and then stick around, whether it's Hue or what have you after which. It's really absolutely up to you. You can do whatever you'd like. And again, I'd love to give you guys some options here. Now, I'm going to get into detail about the spots, but in general, what I wanted to say about Vietnam is Vietnam is awesome. Vietnam is absolutely awesome. It is the best country I've ever been to. I love it. I personally am biased to the nth degree. It is, it's like I tell people, it is as beautiful as Hawaii, like the most ideal beach you can imagine of Hawaii or Puerto Vallarta or Bora Bora or Fiji or if you ever seen the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, that took place in Thailand. That's a neighbor. That's what Vietnam looks like. It is the most beautiful, jungle covered and mountains and beautiful beaches and all that at like 1/20th the price of let's say Hawaii. So you have 20 times the freedom to do whatever you'd like. It's fantastic. Extremely low crime, extremely friendly people, extremely delicious food, the most delicious food you've had in your life every step of the way, and the best coffee, everything. It's got it all. It's really got it all. I've been around the world. Yes, Asia and Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan a while. Been to Mexico close to 20 times. Like, I can tell you with certainty from direct first-hand experience, Vietnam is the best. And yes, I've been to Thailand. It's better than Thailand. It is awesome. Whew. So you're making a good choice by considering making it out to Vietnam. And while we're at it too, I did want to mention that Vietnam is bigger than you think. It's bigger than you think. In fact, it's about Canada all the way down to Mexico. It is huge, and naturally it's quite varied. Along with that, I did want to emphasize too, there's 90 million people in Vietnam. That means that if it were in Europe, the biggest country in Europe is Germany at about 82 million. It is bigger than the biggest country in Europe in terms of population. It's huge. So it's not just a little dot on the map, or it's not obscure in any way. So with all that said, there's plenty to do out there, and yes, you could spend years living there and just scratch the surface of it all. Now, and to give you an idea, again, Saigon is in the south, more or less. Hue City, which is where the wedding is going to take place, is in the center. And Hanoi is all the way up in the north, just to give you an idea. It's worth checking a map before heading out. But now, you do need to fly into Saigon, and so all trips are actually going to start in Saigon internationally. And then from there, you could take a bus, but I recommend just flying to Hue City. It takes about an hour, 20 minutes. It's cheap. You're done. Now, to focus on this 2-week plan here, Hue City, that is the ancient city. It's the capital. The center of the city has a huge castle in the center that has been there like 1,000 years plus. It's and it has a series of gates and moats going around it, and the whole city is built inside and around this ridiculously huge, multiple square mile castle. There's a lot to do there. I have actually lived in Hue City for months on end. In fact, I had a couple years ago, my first trip, I had an apartment out there in one of the neighborhoods. This most previous year, I lived in Hue for about 3 months or so. So I'm very familiar with it, and I stay there for a reason, because I have a lot of friends there. It's a good balance as for the weather. It's a good balance for things to do. When my parents actually arrived for the engagement party here this spring 2016, they absolutely loved Hue City. It's, again, with everything to do and so forth. Now, to give you some ideas, there's lots of restaurants out there, of course. We're looking at getting a hotel and actually booking out multiple floors of one hotel. My folks picked one out, again, this last trip, and they absolutely loved it. They absolutely want to return for good reason. It's located right at the heart of downtown. You can walk everywhere you want to, walk to hundreds of restaurants and bars. You can walk right to the historic area, right along Huang River, Perfume River, where they have everything from art to live music, you name it. Actually, we can rent a boat, and we're definitely doing this, by the way. We can rent a boat for, anywhere from 10 to 30 people, and it's absurdly cheap. Like 4 hours or 5 hours is like 20-30 bucks divided by 20 people. It's absurd. So we're definitely going to be getting some boating in, definitely going to be seeing the castles, definitely going to be heading to the TTM school, Trituk Moy, that was set up by Huang, where I've been volunteering off and on for the last few years. So again, there's going to be a lot going on in Hue, and I know you're going to absolutely love it. Now, the wedding itself is going to be occurring in Thanh Lai's village, where she actually grew up, and her parents are currently living. And the village is, of course, outside of Hue City. It's about 45 minutes by motorcycle, 30 minutes, depending on how you drive. And yeah, it's like you think. It's a little village. In terms of size, it's on par with, let's say, Alma, Wisconsin, or Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, or even smaller than West Salem, like half the size of West Salem, Wisconsin, if you want to get some ideas. Real small, and yeah, it's very remote. It's actually literally out in the jungles. It's surrounded by big mountains with bamboo and coconut trees. There's monkeys there. There's hiking through the jungle, and there's waterfalls out in the mountains. There's rivers to go swimming in, to see, or to go boating on. And recently they actually created a reservoir out there, meaning a big dam. And yeah, you can go fishing out there if you want to. All kinds of neat things, but it's definitely exactly what you would have in your mind as a classic old school Vietnamese village. And yes, they have a church and 2 bars. So, yeah. The wedding itself will actually occur at Thanh Lai's parents' house. They're really traditional in that sense, and I absolutely agree with them. I think having a wedding at home is the absolute best way to do it, if it's possible. In fact, in this case, since they are anticipating a big crowd of folks, he cut down a bunch of trees, is expanding the patio, repainted his house, retiled the floors. They're basically, the whole village is getting prepped for the fact that there's going to be a few dozen foreigners pouring in. And yeah, everyone is extremely, extremely excited about it. Extremely excited about having you there. And it's a big deal. This is going to be the biggest influx of guests, or foreign guests, that this village has ever had in history. So, and beyond that, a lot of people are, a few do speak English and want to practice like that. And everyone is going to be curious and going to want to shake hands with as many Americans as they can, or what have you. It's just going to be a blast. People are just going to be excited every step of the way. And yes, I did also want to point out that the people are ridiculously friendly. They're not like the quiet, scared people that are going to be in their house and just peek through the window. No, they're going to want to meet you, and they're going to want to say hi and hang out. So now the wedding itself is a multi-day affair. Thanh Lai's father, Nguyen, is maybe like the Christian equivalent of a deacon, if you will, meaning that he is present for all, funerals and weddings and death anniversaries and all special events. As a result, he's extraordinarily well known in the village, and thus the entire village wants to come to the wedding and is going to come to the wedding. So logistically speaking, it's got to be a multiple day affair. So that's why I say it's going to take a couple days. Now, the main primary wedding itself, meaning with the families, such as you all and Thanh Lai's immediate family and so forth, that will be on Sunday, which will be the 19th of March. And we're going to have tables all set out, a stage, karaoke, lots of food, catering, everything that you would expect. And of course, a lot of the traditions. prior to which, yeah, there's going to be a party with the entire village, or village in sections. Frankly, there'd be 1,000 people there, let's just say, if we tried to do it all at once. So, and of course, let's say the Friday before, the Sunday night, the Monday, there's still going to be a lot of family in town, and we're still absolutely welcome out there, and going to be basically spending time with Thanh immediate family, getting to know them and everything. So, and by the way, transportation out there is pretty easy. I do recommend just getting a scooter, but otherwise taking a cab from Hue City out to the village, piece of cake. Really cheap, really easy. You really don't have to worry about any minor details like that. Now, following the wedding, I was really thinking Da Nang, Vietnam is probably the most beautiful city out there, in my opinion, in terms of like beach resort, sort of towns. Literally, Forbes magazine put it in the top 10 beaches in the world. In the entire earth, this is in the top 10 most beautiful. I mean, unless you spend a lot of time going to beautiful beaches on a regular basis, you're making a great choice, and this will be the most beautiful place you've ever seen. One thing I also like about Da Nang is they've got the mountains out there, the marble mountains that you can go hiking up. It's got a lot of the classic Vietnamese aspects to it, meaning, yes, there's temples out there. Yes, there's Vietnamese restaurants. And no, it's not overly commercialized or just a pure tourist destination. It's not filled with Russians, that kind of thing. And actually, it's also really cheap, surprisingly. I've already shopped around. I've been to Da Nang 4 or 5 times. I've already shopped around for hotels, and I found an excellent hotel that we're going to rent out here for this trip. Huge balconies like a church choir, and excellent rooms, perfectly clean, and they run about $12 a night. Total. Out the door. Actually, it might be as cheap as 8, I think. I don't know. We'll double check, but it's really cheap, right on the beach and so forth. You can get yourself a massage for $8 or what have you. But I really felt like spending a week in Da Nang would be an excellent contrast to being in the city, and really give you all an excellent vacation sort of experience. Now, to get from after the wedding, let's say that Monday, to go from Hue down to Da Nang, it is either a hour and a half or 2-hour bus ride, which is super cheap, or again, I would really recommend getting a motorcycle. You can rent a motorcycle for about $5 a day. Nobody's getting rich here. Nobody's getting rich, and actually, that's one of the most beautiful aspects of the country, is the Hai Van Pass, which is basically the mountain range that's in between Hue City and Da Nang. And we get to actually go over the mountain range by motorcycle. I really, really, really recommend it. Really recommend it. Even if you just rent a motorcycle for a few days, just to do that trip and head back, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So, yeah, we're going to really get a mix of the major cities, medium cities, small village, and resort in this whole 2-week endeavor. So, the fun part, the flights part of things. I really, a lot of folks have never bought international flights to this degree before, or never flown it, or even considered it for that matter. The first thing people say, like, oh, you're going to Vietnam? Oh, that flight has got to be just terrible. Terrible, isn't it? No, it's awesome. It's absolutely great. I love the flight. I look forward to it every year, in fact. And it's not nearly as long, arduous, or expensive as you think. To put it in proper perspective, the shortest it would be about 20 hours from the United States airport to walking off in Saigon, get a cup of coffee. And the sky's the limit as far as how long you want to make it and so forth. You could also think about it as the equivalent of driving from La Crosse, Wisconsin, down to Orlando, Florida. That also takes about 20 hours. And a lot of folks don't think much of that. Of course, the advantage is when you're sitting in a plane, you don't actually have to do anything other than sit there, walk around, enjoy yourself, and so forth. And these planes for these international flights are nice. Every seat is first class. yeah, you've got on-demand movies, and it's the equivalent of having like Amazon Prime. Like you've got on-demand movies and TV shows, and the equivalent of XM radio, amongst other things. It's got more movies and things to watch. I mean, shoot, even online gambling if you want to play cards with the other people in the plane. It's got all kinds of neat stuff like that. The time just whips right by. And the chairs are comfortable. Everything is nice. The food is great. I've never had a bad meal. I just absolutely love that long leg of, let's say, 12 hours or whatever it happens to be. So no, the flight, look forward to the flight. It's great. It's great. And yeah, they've got plug-ins. You can whip open a laptop. You know, you could work, I guess, if you want. But yeah, again, do whatever you want to do. And needless to say, if you're flying with, you know, your husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or other groups of friends, oh, you'll be fine. You know, pack of those 3-ounce bottles filled with booze, you know, and you can catch a buzz while you're out there. Yeah, I recommend these. They'll keep your fire stoked, you know, along the way. But no, cost-wise, pretty much, or let me back up, logistically, pretty much all flights international flights go out of LAX or they go out of Chicago, generally speaking, or Newark, New Jersey. Now, so if you fly from any other city, which you can, you're going to have to first fly to Chicago or first fly to LAX, just so you know. In general, I recommend flying out of Chicago. It's the most straightforward, one and done. To give you some ideas, price-wise, it's actually way, way cheaper than you think. In fact, I just looked it up today. If you want to go from, let's say, Saturday to Saturday, 2 weeks, to and from Chicago, it's going to be $630 round trip. Let's be clear. That is taxes, fees, baggage, ticket, everything. Everything combined is $630 round trip out the door. It's not nearly as expensive as you think. Now, to fly out of Minneapolis, the cheapest flight, in contrast, is about $870, but most of them are about $1,200. So, yeah, it's anywhere from $200 to $600 cheaper to fly out of Chicago. And it's faster. I mean, you're not having to switch airports and stuff like that. Now, I also want to mention this last trip, I ended up taking the train with Michael Hirsch when we went to Thailand from La Crosse to Chicago. And I gotta say, Amtrak is awesome as well. It's a straight shot. It's about 4 hours and 55 minutes from doorstop to doorstop. And again, you don't have to do a darn thing. Trains are comfortable. They've got sleeper cars and restaurant cars, and they have one car that's all it's all glass, so you can actually watch the whole state of Wisconsin go by as you're heading out there. Round trip meaning 2 tickets, La Crosse to Chicago, Chicago back to La Crosse. Total is $80, $80 flat, you know, per person, of course, and you're done. Nice advantage too, you don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to, you know, go long-term parking. Which, by the way, the cheapest in Chicago is $6 a day times 14 days, costs more than taking a train. Also, the cost of gas to go from, let's say, La Crosse to Chicago and back. I don't know, you know where you're at better than that, but it's not far away from $80. So logistically, it's very simple. Just park your car right there, hop on, go, come back. Easy. You're a smart person, you'll figure it out, you know, on your own, but that's my strongest recommendation that I can give you is take the train. Now, once you actually get to Vietnam itself, meaning you'll be flying into Saigon, to get to Hue, I actually looked this up, and I have flown from Hue to Saigon multiple times, of course. The flight is about 1 hour and 20 minutes long. Round trip from Saigon all the way up to Hue, and Hue back down to Saigon. So basically, essentially 2 tickets. Total taxes, fees, baggage, everything combined is $60 round trip. It's stupid how cheap it is. And yeah, it's actually more expensive to take a bus, which would take a day. to do it. So suit yourself, but it's not bad. On a quick side note, you can round trip it from Saigon to Bangkok, Thailand, and back, probably for under $100. Just so you know, if you want to tack on 4 days in Thailand, might as well. So really, the total concept of flights is not bad. If you were to book them right now and fly out of Chicago, by the time you're done with the international plane ticket, the domestic ticket within Vietnam Airlines, by the way, and the round trip Amtrak ticket, let's just say, total you're under $800. Total, all your transportation needs. Beyond that, again, I really recommend renting a scooter. You can get a big hog if you want, or a little normal scooter. It's about $5 a day. So, and if you're arriving as a couple, needless to say, you probably share it if you want, or slap another $5 down for a second one. But shoot, what would that end up being? Another like $70 to have a scooter, round trip. Let's factor in gas. All right, $80 round trip to have all that under control, and your total freedom to go anywhere you want in that whole part of the country. So again, this is not very expensive by the time you get done with it if you book now. Now, obviously, if you wait till April, the tickets are going to be, or last minute, are going to be in that $1,200 range or $1,300 range, somewhere in there. So suit yourself, do what you want to do. Again, 2 weeks is the minimum. Saturday is great because you can actually be sitting at home at your house and sleep in your own bed Saturday the 25th. And then you have all Sunday to just relax, unpack, get it all together. Now, if you wanted to fly and go there for a whole month, guess what? It costs exactly the same. By the time you're done with everything, it's going to be right in that $800 range for a whole month. So suit yourself, do what you want to do. So to cover the overall cost idea here, because that's really the bottom line that a lot of people have in their mind when they're putting together a budget and figuring out whether or not this trip is feasible. All I can do is estimate, because you can spend as much as you want, or you can get by on a college student's backpackers, sort of budget if you really want to. But again, having laid out the flights and general transportation, I can say that if you want to go high class with us, meaning if you want to stay at a really nice hotel in Hue City, let's just say, hotels, let's go there. The cheapest I've ever paid was $4 a night in Vietnam. You might not like those rooms. Same thing, $6. But for $8, you can get a nice place, like a respectable place with high-speed internet, something like that. For $12 or $15 a night, we're talking glass elevators and people dressed with white gloves. The hotel that my folks stayed at, it was really nice, one of the nicest hotels I've seen. Man, if you want the most expensive, it would be if you want to get a master suite, a multiple room master suite for multiple people, big old balcony, continental breakfast of fresh fruit from the jungle, coffee, everything you'd want, fully bilingual staff, folks opening the door for you, lounge, really nice place. The most expensive room that they have is $35. The most expensive. Most of the other rooms are in the $20, $25 a night range. Yep. Divide that by 2 if you're traveling as a couple. Divide it by 4 if you really want to share. Staying in the jungle at Thanh Lai's village, that's basically free. A lot of folks might want to buy a pillow, bed net, or something along those lines. So I suppose maybe $20 for bedding supplies prior to heading out, and then you're good for 2 to 4 days, something like that. In Da Nang, as I mentioned already, it's in the neighborhood of, let's just estimate $10 a night for a room, divided by 2 people. So hotel-wise, you're really not investing that much. As a couple, let's just say 2 people, and let's just say you want to go high class, the most expensive, I'm talking top of the line suites the whole way, the whole way. The most expensive it would be like $400. The most expensive. And my apartment, or I rented a hotel for a month, or by the month, this last year. It was $160 a month to rent this extremely nice, huge hotel suite. You know, in my case, it didn't have continental breakfast, but it did have a glass elevator, huge balcony, you know, the whole works. The balcony was bigger than the room. $160 total for the month. So, again, it's not bad. It's not bad. Reasonably speaking, not going, you know, high end, top of the line. An average person, if you actually book hotels with us at the hotels that I am suggesting and our whole group is staying at, and I'll figure this up per couple, per 2 people, you're probably looking at $25 a night for about 5 days, so $125, and then you got that on. You're probably talking $200 per couple total for 2 weeks. Again, not bad. Food, I tell you, food's the best part. You're really going to be $1 a meal will get you a great meal. That'll get you a fine meal. You'll be fine. If you're selective and you want to just eat the street food with us and so forth, that's what I eat. That's what I enjoy the most. Yeah, it's about $1 a day. So I spend, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 a day on food out there, and I'm full all the time. If you want to go to top-end restaurants, which we're going to be doing, of course, and if you want to go on a total food adventure, let's just say you want the frog legs and you want to do the snails and escargot. You want to go to the French bakeries. You know, the most varied food that they have. Like, you want the King's Meals, a unique 5-star dining every single meal, every single day. On the highest end, it would be $20 a person for food, so $40 a couple. Places like, let's say, the wedding itself, that costs nothing. So you're probably going to be looking at, I guess, somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 per person total. If you want to go totally crazy, food crazy buffet everywhere. Again, not bad. A motorcycle rental, as I mentioned, it's about $5 a day, and I really recommend that. So do the math, as many days as you'll be there. You know, just a quick number shooting from the hip here. It'd probably be $100 for 2 people. You know, gas, rental, everything all combined. Yeah, it's not. Do it. Beyond that, I mean, those are your main horsemen. Yes, there is a visa fee. It's by the time you're done getting the approval letter and paying the fee, the maximum would be about $100 that you'll end up paying per person. So that's certainly in there. Again, just shooting from the hip here, if you were to book things now and you're looking at doing 2 weeks, you'd be looking at around $1,500 a person for everything. Food, drinks, transportation, hotel, yeah, all your tickets, visa, everything combined. And yeah, you could crank that up to $2,500 if you're, you know, got really creative and just making it rain everywhere you go. Sure. So I guess beyond that, it's really up to you. I don't think it's possible to spend more than $2,500 on this trip. You've really, per person, you've really got to try. Like, go to $100 a night hotel on purpose. Buy a bunch of food and only take 1 bite out of it and leave it on a table. I don't know. I guess you could, but it's not reasonable. While I was over there, I was living on $600 a month for place to live, hotel basically, and food and beer and coffee combined. And I still had money left over. I mean, $600 is a huge budget, in my opinion. So I think you'll be delighted to know that the cost of everything is really, really low. Even cabs and transportation. Let's say you don't get a motorcycle, but instead you want to take cabs everywhere. A 20-minute ride is $5 divided by 2 or divided by 5 people, or whoever you're with. We are going to be having a handful of cab guys with the big vans that are going to be basically on call at any given time. So you're looking at anywhere from $1 to, on the high end, $5 a trip anywhere you go. Even to take a cabs from, again, Hue City to Thanh Lai's village and back, that whole round trip on the high end would be $25 divided by 5 people. Round trip, so it's not bad. I would actually argue it's negligible. So beer is about 50 cents a beer. Coffee is 50 cents a coffee. Actually, cigarettes are about 60 cents a pack or something like that. If you're a smoker. Going to a movie is like $1. Like, everything is cheap. It's damn near free. So if you're gonna go on a vacation, want to go hog wild, do it in Vietnam. If you bring $500 to Vietnam versus $500 to Puerto Vallarta, you can barely scratch by and go out to dinner and get some drinks in Puerto Vallarta for 5 days. For one person for $500. For $500, that's a month in Vietnam like a king. While we're at it too, spas and nail salons and all that, yeah. You can get a 1-hour massage for around $5. $10 if you're getting ripped off. You can, a woman can go in and get full manicure, full pedicure, all the nails colored and everything under $10. A multiple hour event. Yep, you might as well. You can get your hair done in the most fancy, like you'd otherwise set it up for prom or something like that. Yeah, under $20 for sure. Probably more like $10. I actually, while I was over there, I got my hair dyed. Got my hair cut, dyed. Full scalp massage for a half hour while I was getting my hair washed. It was probably a 2-hour endeavor. And the whole thing was $12 by the time I walked out of there a few hours later. Why not? This is a perfect time to get out there, get the hot stone massage, which I recommend the most. Just go for it. I'd bring a little bit extra. In fact, I would suggest you get a massage every day. Every day. Just wake up in the morning and get a massage. Your day is going to be off to a great start, and under $100, you could get massaged every single day for 2 weeks. Come on, folks! Like, you're going to be very pleased, I think, with that whole aspect of it. So, yeah, I can go honestly on and on about Vietnam for hours, and yes, I will make some future videos for you all as the time approaches regarding more specific points. There's a reason that I've gone there 4 times, and there's a reason I want to live there. And I guess to leave you with some main thoughts here, I would say this March 2017 is the perfect time to go. It's perfect. You're going to be with friends and family along the way. You're going to know most people right off the bat. You're going to be with the whole Hirsch family. You're going to be traveling with me. You're going to get a chance to, meet Thanh Lai and her family. We've got the main arrangements already done. Obviously, you choose your own flights and how you want to get there, but once you get there, it's all taken care of. Hotel's already done. Transportation's already figured out. I've got friends of mine, many of whom are bilingual. I'm bilingual. You've got guides. You've got people that know their way around everything. You can ask me any question you want about the history of Vietnam and what to do around the area, about the language. I can teach you. Everything is done. It's all figured out. And you're just not going to get this quality of a trip if you just try to do it on your own. You're not just going to go to India on your own as a couple of, white Midwestern Americans and have a trip this awesome. You won't. This is the absolute best way to travel. And it's an excellent incentive to go. I know, let's say regarding skydiving, to pick that as an analogy, there's a lot of people that are in the back of their mind like, yeah, I want to skydive someday if I get around to it, man. Something magical happens when you hear, 5 of my friends are going skydiving in this day? Hell, I'm going to go. Yep. That's pretty much all my friends have gone at this point because of that exact reason we went as a group. in this case, it's actually going to be more fun. It's going to be cheaper, and it's going to be just a hell of a lot less hassle. This is the perfect time to go. Another big thing in there is I obviously am passionate about Vietnam, and again, for a reason, many reasons, but I really want to share Vietnam with you. I want to really open up your eyes to the beauty that that whole side of the world has to offer. I've been dying to share share this whole experience with all of you, friends and family and everybody, for years, since the first day I went. And I really hope that if you choose to make this trip, you enjoy it, and more than that, I hope that you really consider making it back. Let's face it, in the future, it'll only get easier. I'll even have a house out there at some point or another. You can come stay with Brad if you want to in Vietnam. Pay your $650 round trip to be there. Because I know 100% after this first trip that you take out there, you're going to fall in love with it just like I did. And when you're thinking about taking a family vacation, instead of going to Mexico or something like that, yeah, I really am convinced you're going to be considering Asia, and Asia will be on your radar, and specifically Vietnam may be on your radar. You're going to make a lot of friends on this trip. You're going to make a lot of connections. You're going to have another dozen or 2 dozen or 5 dozen Facebook friends because of it. You're going to get a chance to see the TTM school, see an orphanage. You're going to get an opportunity to talk with old Uncle Pat, who actually was there during the war. And you're going to get a chance to have that perspective. You're going to get a chance to talk with Aunt Huang and Uncle Phil. Aunt Huang, who actually grew up in Hue and in this whole area. You're going to understand and feel her history and understand her as a person that much more deeply, and of course understand me that much more as a person, that much more deeply. So yeah, overall, this is the time. If you're going to pick a time, this is the time, and I really hope you pull the trigger on it. Start thinking about it right now. Start shopping around for flights right now. Start booking your life schedule, right now, and block it out. And from there, all the details will definitely handle themselves. So overall, I appreciate you guys' time and checking out this video, and I really, really look forward to hearing, of course, questions from you guys, being able to offer help to you guys, but mostly also hearing flight confirmations from you guys, knowing full on that you pulled the trigger. We're going to be having more of a guest list put together here as the summer goes on, and more details will be coming out here eventually. But yeah, in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and God bless. Cheers.